My grandmother's kitchen had exactly one drawer of utensils, one good pot, and a wooden spoon so worn down it curved slightly to the left. She fed 4 children on a mechanic's salary out of that kitchen, and I never once remember her ordering takeout, not one single time in her entire life. At 58, I stood in my own kitchen last spring and took a hard look around. I had 3 drawers of gadgets I'd used maybe twice, a freezer full of things I couldn't even identify anymore, and a stack of delivery receipts sitting on the counter that honestly would have made her ashamed of me. So I decided to go back to running my kitchen the way she ran hers, and I am not exaggerating even a little when I tell you this single decision has saved me more money than anything else on this channel so far. Today, I'm sharing 12 kitchen habits from her era that I brought back into my own life at 58. Number 2 on this list is the one that genuinely shocked me. It's a habit involving vegetables that were already halfway to the trash, and it quietly gave my family an entire extra dinner every single week for free. Stay with me for that one. Let's start with the habits that happen before you even turn on the stove. Number 12, the Sunday double batch. Every Sunday, my grandmother cooked as if she were feeding twice as many people as she actually had. Whatever went into the oven or the pot, she made double, and half of it went straight into the icebox for later in the week. Today, most of us cook one meal at a time, every single night, which means every single night carries its own full cost in time and ingredients. I started doubling one meal every Sunday, a casserole, a pot of chili, a tray of baked chicken, and freezing half in a labeled container. My Wednesday dinners now cost me almost nothing because I already paid for them on Sunday. Number 11. The Eat Me First shelf. My grandmother's icebox had one specific shelf, and anything sitting on it had to be used within a day or two, no exceptions. She looked at that shelf before she looked at anything else. We buy groceries and shove them wherever there's room, and things get pushed to the back and forgotten until they're spoiled. I dedicated one shelf in my own fridge to exactly this. Anything close to its limit goes there first, front and center. My food waste has dropped so much that I genuinely throw almost nothing away anymore. Number 10. Saving the cooking water. Whenever my grandmother boiled potatoes, pasta, or vegetables, that starchy, mineral-rich water never went down the drain. She poured it into a jar and used it as the base for soups and gravies later in the week. Today, that water goes straight down the sink every single time, and we buy boxed broth to replace exactly what we just poured away. I started keeping a jar in the fridge for this. My gravies are noticeably richer, and I have not bought a box of vegetable stock in months. Number 9. The stacked steamer trick. If my grandmother had one pot of water already boiling, nothing else in that kitchen used a second burner if it didn't have to. She'd set a metal steamer basket right on top and cook her vegetables using the same heat, the same water, the same few cents of gas. Today, we turn on 4 burners for a meal that could easily use 2. I started stacking a steamer basket over whatever's already boiling, and my gas bill has noticeably dropped since I stopped heating water twice for the same dinner. Number 8. The butter wrapper trick. This one is so simple it's almost silly, but my grandmother never threw away a butter wrapper. She folded it, butter side in, and kept a small stack in a dish by the stove to grease pans whenever she needed to. A can of cooking spray runs about $5 now, and most of what's actually in it is propellant, not butter. I started saving my own wrapper stack 8 months ago. I have not bought a can of cooking spray since, and my eggs have never stuck to the pan. If you're enjoying these old-fashioned kitchen habits, a quick subscribe genuinely helps me keep sharing them. Now, these next few are the ones that changed not just what I spend, but how I think about food entirely. Number 7, empty the fridge night. Once a week, the night before her regular grocery trip, my grandmother cooked whatever was left, no exceptions, no matter how strange the combination looked on the plate. We tend to shop again before we've actually used what we already bought, which means we're paying for the same category of food twice in a week. I started doing this every Thursday night, right before my Friday shopping trip. It sounds unglamorous, but it's quietly become one of my favorite meals of the week, and it means I only ever buy what I truly need. The seasoning trick that replaced $40 a month in packets. Number 6. Making her own seasoning blends. My grandmother kept small jars of her own mixed seasonings on a shelf by the stove. A taco blend, a poultry blend, an all-purpose one she used on almost everything. Today, a single packet of taco seasoning or gravy mix runs $2 to $3, and most households go through several a month. I started mixing my own from spices I already had in bulk. It cost a fraction of the price, has no strange preservatives in it, and honestly, mine tastes better than anything from a packet. Number 5, the proper bread box. Bread in my grandmother's kitchen lived in a metal bread box on the counter, never in the bag it came in, and never in the fridge, which actually makes bread stale faster, not slower. I bought a simple bread box for $20 last year. My loaves last noticeably longer before they even start to turn, which means less of it ever gets wasted in the first place. Number 4, one good cutting board kept for decades. My grandmother had a single wooden cutting board her entire adult life. She oiled it every few months, and it outlived 2 of her kitchen renovations. We buy cheap plastic boards for $8 or $10, and they warp and crack and get replaced every year or 2. I bought one solid wooden board 4 years ago, and I oil it every month. It's the only cutting board in my kitchen now, and it will likely outlive me. The habit that quietly stopped my pantry waste for good. Number 3, the pantry rotation system. Every time my grandmother brought home flour, rice, or sugar, the older stock moved to the front and the new stock went to the back, always without fail. We buy in bulk to save money and then forget half of it exists until it's expired behind something newer. I started dating everything with a small piece of masking tape and rotating stock the same way she did. I genuinely cannot remember the last time I threw away an expired bag of anything. The vegetable scraps that gave my family a free extra dinner every week. And now, number 2, the one I mentioned at the very beginning. My grandmother kept a bag in her icebox for vegetables that were a day or 2 from going bad, not scraps and peelings this time, but whole pieces that just hadn't been used yet, half an onion, a couple of wilting carrots, the end of a head of celery. Once a week, that entire bag went into a pot with water and simmered for an hour, becoming a rich vegetable soup that cost her nothing beyond what she'd already paid for. I started keeping the exact same bag in my own fridge 8 months ago. Every single week without fail, it produces a full pot of soup, an entire extra dinner from food that would have otherwise gone straight into the trash. A carton of store-bought vegetable soup runs $4 to $5 now. I'm getting the same thing free from food I'd already paid for and nearly wasted. And finally, number 1, the habit that ties every single one of these together. My grandmother didn't see her kitchen as a place where food simply got used up. She saw it as a place where nothing left until every bit of value had already been taken out of it first. Nothing entered her kitchen without a plan for how it would leave. Peelings became broth, vegetables became soup, stale bread became breakfast. Wasting food wasn't just careless in her generation, it was something close to embarrassing, a small failure of imagination that a little more patience could have fixed. When I adopted that mindset at 58, it changed something bigger than my grocery bill. I stopped dreading my own kitchen. I stopped feeling behind like I was constantly starting from nothing every single night. I was simply transforming what I already had the same way she always did. That's what she understood and what most of us have quietly forgotten. A kitchen isn't only a place where you use things up, it's a place where you make more of what you already have. So there you have it, 12 kitchen habits from my grandmother's era that genuinely changed my life at 58. The first time my own daughter saw the butter wrapper dish sitting by my stove, she laughed and told me I was turning into my grandmother. I told her that was the nicest thing anyone had said to me all year. Which of these kitchen habits are you going to bring back into your own life? Did your mother or grandmother have a kitchen trick I didn't mention here? Tell me in the comments. I read every single one.